This is Valley News Live at 5.
Good afternoon, everyone. If your lawn needs to be mowed, you might want to consider getting it done tonight. Tomorrow, our First Alert Storm team is calling for a First Alert Weather Day. While we all would love to see some rain, calling for a FOD usually means the possibility of damaging weather. Taking a look at one of our live sky cams, there's nothing too troubling to see at this point. But let's begin with Nathan Hopper, who joins us now to tell us what's happening right now. Nathan?
Yeah, thanks, Mike. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Of course, that First Alert Weather Day for tomorrow does mean there's the potential for some strong to severe storms and some impactful weather, especially as folks get their kids back into school for the first day of school for some folks across the region. So here is our severe weather risk. Notice the deeper green. That's the marginal risk of severe weather. That's level 1 out of 5 on the severe weather risk scale, with that level 2, the slight risk along the I-90 corridor and points south into South Dakota and Nebraska. But even in that deeper green, tomorrow still could see some spotty wind and hail events. It looks like mainly in the morning hours. But of course, here's what we can expect for our Thursday: showers and storms in the morning. So that's our best chance of seeing those more organized storms, and mainly in the southern neighborhoods, which is where temperatures will be a little bit warmer for us. So we'll say along and south of Highway 200. Wind and hail, as I just said, the primary concerns, but a localized heavy rain is expected in some spots. So of course, that's what we're watching, and a few storms even could move in later in the day on our Thursday as well. But I think the best chance of those strong to severe storms looks to be in the morning. But for tonight, things are looking good. So as Mike said, if your lawn does need it, tonight is the time to do it, so that it could be receptive to some rainfall we're expecting. Look at the temperatures cooling into the 60s for us by the 11 o'clock hour, some upper 50s there in Fargo by say 3 a.m. or so. In Grand Forks, expecting the same quiet conditions for this evening. Notice those temperatures there, middle 50s. So another cool night in store for us. But of course, coming up, Mike, in a few minutes, we'll break the First Alert Weather Day down hour by hour and get an early look ahead to the weekend, which also could have some impactful weather.
Thanks, Nathan. Summer vacation is officially over for many students in the Valley. Day one of the new school year is over in Fargo, and students were reminded not to forget their masks for the first day of school. Students and staff that don't feel well are being asked to stay at home. Administrators say disciplinary action may be taken for students who oppose the mask mandate. They add that they're happy to be back in person or virtually.
It's extremely valuable, and I think the beauty of this school year in Fargo Public Schools, and even with what's happened legislatively in the state of North Dakota, is that we're able to offer a virtual learning environment for students that choose to do that, students or families, and we have some students that will thrive in that environment, but we also know that no two learners are the same, and some students will thrive in an in-person environment.
Meanwhile, a bit of a shakeup for the first day of classes in Wahpeton as mold has shut down the school that houses pre-K and kindergarten students. There's a mold problem that's impacting air quality at the Zimmerman School building. The pre-K and kindergarten students will be relocated to Wahpeton Elementary, which typically houses 1st through 5th graders. Now, Valley News Live found out about the mold issue last week, but the school district has been evading our questions on the issue for the past 5 days. More on that, plus concerns from parents, tonight on Valley News Live at 6. Misinformation online about infertility and COVID-19 vaccines have prevented several young women from getting the shot. As the Delta variant continues to spread in the Red River Valley, one Sanford doctor is hoping to debunk those rumors, saying there's no evidence that shows infertility can be linked to the COVID-19 vaccine or any other vaccine. Valley News Team's Bailey Hurley sat down with 2 local women today who say they've been vaccinated and are now just weeks away from bringing new life into the world.
The side effects of the COVID-19 vaccine are already well known: a sore arm, fever, chills, and fatigue. But one risk you won't see or hear about regarding the shot is infertility. And it's not because it's being swept under the rug.
There is no evidence to support that any vaccine, including COVID-19 vaccinations, cause fertility concerns or problems in men or women.
But if Dr. Argall's words aren't enough, take it from these 2 women, both fully vaccinated in early 2021. Melinda Spildy now 14 weeks along with her 2nd child, while Libby Fields is 12 weeks along in her 1st pregnancy, expecting twins.
I had definitely heard people question it, be very careful, you know, you are having more kids in the future, but I didn't even faze me to actually think about or worry about.
Dr. Argall says the unfounded infertility claim comes from a misunderstanding of the science, saying the protein in the COVID-19 vaccine has similarities to a protein found in the placenta.
Ultimately, that's similar to comparing a beach ball to a golf ball. The two have similarities, but it's highly unlikely that one will be mistaken for the other.
Argall emphasizes a COVID shot doesn't cause an active COVID-19 infection in mom or baby, instead saying the antibodies from the vaccine can be crossed into the placenta and breast milk.
That's a huge comfort going forward, knowing that I'm potentially protecting my child in the future, whereas my older child can't have the vaccine yet.
Both add there aren't any health concerns with their babies and urge other new or expecting moms to talk to their doctors about any questions or lingering skepticism. In West Fargo, Bailey Hurley, Valley News Live.
And Dr. Argall says if the FDA does end up recommending booster shots in the coming months, she says that will also very likely include expecting and new mothers. The Jamestown Regional Medical Center is once again redistricting visitors. The president and CEO there cites at 237% jump in cases between August 1st and the 23rd, saying the restrictions will hopefully help keep patients and employees safe. Starting today, only one designated visitor is allowed per patient. No visitors are allowed in the emergency department, and the only exceptions are for children, adults with special needs, and end-of-life care. Masks are required, and all events at JRMC are also going back to virtual. The Minnesota State Fair's oldest food concession stand is dialing back its menu in a big way this year. The Hamlin Church Dining Hall, which is in its 124th year at the Great Minnesota Getaway, has announced that it will only serve ice cream through window service, and its dining room will be closed out of an abundance of caution. Officials say the dining hall typically serves about 20,000 meals a year, with some profits going to a charitable organization. One more thing concerning the fair, the snowplow many of you voted for will be on display at the Minnesota State Fair. This is Plowy McPlowface, and you can go and get a picture with Plowy. With President Biden sticking to his August 31st deadline to pull out of Afghanistan, the State Department and U.S. military are working around the clock to get Americans out. Meanwhile, two members of Congress are facing criticism for an unauthorized visit to Kabul to see for themselves how the evacuation mission is proceeding. Alice Barr has the latest.
With only 6 days left until all U.S. troops are set to leave Afghanistan, the military and State Department are racing to get Americans and allies to safety. In an anxiously awaited update today, the Secretary of State saying there may be as many as 1,500 Americans still actively seeking to leave.
We're aggressively reaching out to them multiple times a day through multiple channels of communication: phone, email, text messaging.
President Biden is sticking to his August 31st deadline, but also ordering contingency plans in case troops have to stay longer.
There is no deadline on our work to help any remaining American citizens who decide they want to leave to do so, along with the many Afghans who have stood by us over these many years.
It seems clear there won't be time to get out all the Afghan translators and others who served alongside U.S. forces.
This is a profound betrayal. The president and his administration needs to understand that veterans are never going to forgive them for this.
Many veterans trying to help their Afghan colleagues in peril a world away.
He's been beaten. His wife has been beaten in front of their kids by the Taliban.
Two U.S. House members, one Republican, one Democrat, both veterans who secretly traveled to Kabul, saying Washington should be ashamed of the chaos. But they're facing their own backlash for the unauthorized trip.
How many Afghan women and children were not able to be evacuated yesterday because we had to pull Marines off the line or out of rest to provide security for VIP.
The around-the-clock evacuation mission continues, with the danger only increasing as the deadline approaches. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
The Biden administration says it's now gotten more than 82,000 people out of Afghanistan in the past 10 days, 19,000 yesterday alone. Meanwhile, the business cycle has ceased in Afghanistan. Banks are closed and the financial system is blocked. 10 days after the Taliban took control of Kabul, banks have not resumed operations. Residents of Kabul are anxiously urging the Taliban to take immediate action as people face severe financial difficulties. Here at home, a big congratulations to this Moorhead hero. Officer Brett Kvam received a life-saving award after he started doing CPR on a woman in Moorhead who was in cardiac arrest back in July. The police department says she was lying on the couch and was unresponsive. The department says Kvam's quick response saved her life. Way to go. Later on Valley News Live at 5, new study results are back that shed new light for those with high blood pressure.
And at the bus stop tomorrow, going to be a cool one in the morning, especially with some showers and some thunder around for the first day of school for some folks. Temperatures there in the 50s for those off to school kids. But when the kids come back, still the chance of some showers here or there. Only expecting middle 60s there around bus stop time in the afternoon. Of course, that first alert weather day for tomorrow. We'll break it down for you next.